Hi everybody, it's Meg from Books Off the Beaten Path, and I'm here to do a tag from my dear friend Heather. And I don't know if it was an original tag that Heather composed on her own. I think she did, but boy, it was hard. It's a toughie. It's a toughie tag. And I'm not going to have time this week to write out all the tag prompts, but I will have Heather's channel linked below so that you can get the prompts if you want to do it, because it is fascinating, it is intriguing, and it's really a mind bender. You really have to think about this one. Okay, so this one is about, it came to be after Heather had read a book about Proust? Proust? Is it Proust or Proust? I'm going to say Proust because I'm not as smart as Heather and I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. So anyway, he wrote some big long book that I have never even ventured to read. I've heard of it, but I've never even ventured to read. And here are her prompts and her questions, and you really have to think about them. So get ready for this one, because it's going to be me thinking. Okay? So brace yourselves. How to live life today is number one. If there was only time to read one more book before the world ended, which book would you read? I think I would have to read Jane Eyre again. It's always been my favorite, and I think that I would have to read that one again because it's just everything to me. I mean, that book encapsulates my love of Gothic and where I started my love of Gothic and where it has stayed with me through all of these years. Jane is my hero. I want to be Jane when I grow up, whenever that is. Number two, how to read for yourself. Name two books which had more than one Marquis de la effects on you. A, to recognize what we have in common with people who seem different than us or lived at different times. That's an easy one. That was the Little House books. When I was growing up, I read all the Little House books, and I think I read them, Little House on the Prairie, Laura Ingalls Wilder. And I think I read them more than once. And I really, not only did I love learning about their life on the prairie and everything, because my ancestors, and we have documentation of this and everything like that. One set was in the land run, the other one came out on a covered wagon. So, I mean, I'm true Little House on the Prairie, born and bred. I'm still on the prairie. But Laura, who is the main character, she's the narrator, but she's also the main character. She has her temper and she has her fits and she gets mad at her sister Mary and everything like that. And I just thought that was really cool. When I was reading about someone who long since died, had the same sibling problems that I had with my brother when we were growing up. B, to have our own thoughts and emotions echoed and therefore to feel validated and less alone. Judy Blume, pretty much any Judy Blume, and I've read a lot of them. I remember Forever being one that just really touched my heart. But Judy Blume, I think, was sort of, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Oh my God, that was my life. That was my absolute life growing up as a child. Okay, to have our own thoughts and emotions echoed and therefore feel validated and less alone. No, I don't really have one for that. Sorry, Heather, I don't have one for that. To read about an idea or emotion and recognize it as one you have experienced but never articulated. That's a toughie, because I've articulated a lot of emotions in my lifetime. So I'm going to have to say pass on that one. I have to pass on that one too. To draw attention to something we have previously ignored or failed to recognize so that we see the world differently thereafter. That one, I'm going to go back to the book that I just finished reading, which was Christine Hanna's The Women, because I don't know anything about the Vietnam War, just because I've never really read about it or been that interested in it and everything. But it really changed my perspective of that time period and what people were going through and what the whole country was going through at that time. And I thought that was really very, very interesting. Okay, number 3, how to take your time. If you had to spend a week in a cabin in the woods with no phone, television, radio, or internet, and no transport except your 2 feet, and there was a hardback copy of Proust In Search of Lost Time in the Cabin, would you try reading the book or would you do something else, and what would that be? Of course I would try reading the book. Of course, that'd be the perfect time to try reading the book. It's a big book, and I would have plenty of time, and I would be interested to read it, and I would be excited to read it. But of course I would read it. Yes, what else am I going to go do? Look for bears? No, I would read the book. 4, how to suffer successfully. Is it true for you that some kind of suffering or unhappiness is probably what makes you a reader or a writer? Definitely. That is definitely 100% true, because my parents bicker when we were growing up. I mean, we were not the Brady Bunch. I mean, nobody was abused or anything like that, but my parents fought over everything. And to this day, I can remember an argument about pass the salt and how that sentence was delivered at the dinner table, and it became a huge argument and everything like that. Pass the salt. They just bickered all the time, and I never understood why they didn't get divorced until later in life, when I realized 2 things. One, we were a very Catholic family. They always had us in church, and so that would be frowned upon. And 2, the bickering wasn't the same for them as it was for maybe myself and my brother. It was a difference, like they didn't view it as being any big deal. Whereas to me, it was just like, oh, you're fighting all the time, blah, 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 blah. So I would read in order to escape that. And I have to tell you this story. This is one of the stories that I've told my kids growing up. When I was younger, and still to this day, I'm a little overweight, but when I was younger, I was fat. I mean, I was a big girl. And there was a place called Steve's Sundries, and my father would take us there like on summer nights and everything, and that's when I got into reading cozy mysteries and series and stuff. And I could get 1 paperback, and I could get some candy. And so and then I would go to my room and I would eat the candy and I would read the paperback. And just every time, I mean, I would do that. And so I associate reading with warm feelings and feelings of being, isolated, but in a good way, kind of in a secret, this was my own world way and everything like that. But sometimes we would do that 2 or 3 times a week, and I just puffed up like a little balloon. But anyway, didn't seem to matter. Life goes on. How to express your emotions. Think of any book you recently read and enjoyed. In 100 words or less, describe why you think it was good without using any adverbs or adjectives. Now that's tough. That is a tough one. What have I read recently? Well, I read The Women recently. Do I know what an adverb is? I know what an adjective is. What else have I read recently? Oh, I read The Sleeper Wakes in Terror, or The Terror Wakes the Sleeper, without using adverbs and adjectives. I don't think I can do it. I think I can do it because, I love my adverbs and adjectives. Ghostly, spooky, scary, painful. I'm speaking of The Women, not the gothic one. painful, heart-wrenching. How about if I just did it all with adjectives and adverbs? How about if I just did it with that? Would that work? Maybe not. Okay, how to be a good friend. This is important to me because I want to be a good friend. Think of a book where friendship is central and discussed whether Proust's principle about being 100% honest being bad for friendship is true or not. Well, I'm going to go with Nancy Drew on that one, because the later Nancy Drews, when she's with her cousin Georgie, and I forget the other one's name, but they're always fat shaming the one girl. And they're always fat shaming her. And I think that that's horrible. And I think if I was that one girl, gosh, I can't remember her name. It wasn't Georgie. It was somebody else. But I would not be friends with Nancy Drew, because you don't want 100% honesty out of your, I mean, do I want 100% honesty out of my friends? Oh, I want a lot of honesty. But do I want 100%? Let's really think about that. I think that I would go with 98%. Lie to me 2% of the time. If I really look bad in an outfit, tell me. But if I'm having a particularly bad day, just don't mention it. So maybe that's not lying. I don't know. Do I want 100%? This is a hard one, Heather. You've got me really thinking. Yeah, I think I'd want 100% honesty. I think I would, because I think if I was really friends with someone, it wouldn't matter. Okay, well, it kind of brought me down. All right, what's next? How to open your eyes. Is there a book that opened your eyes to the beauty of a different genre or a different type of writing or a different subject matter? Yes. When I was reading Bernard Cornwell's Sharp's books, the manly man books and everything like that, and I read Hunt for Red October, and I appreciated the man book and the man fiction. And I really thought that was a lot of fun. It's not something that I want to read continuously, but I enjoy dipping my toes into it every now and again, because I like seeing the world from the way the men see it. Because normally I'm a stickler about women writers. Like, I don't like men writing about women, writing as if they were women. But in these books, in the Bernard Cornwell books, it's men writing about men doing manly things, everything like that. And it's not silly. I'm making it out to be silly. It's not silly at all. It's wonderful and brave and courageous. And I think it's great. So I'm going to go with those are the books that open my eyes to the beauty of a different genre. How to be happy in love. Do you have any personal pointers to help a flagging reader refresh their love for reading? Yes. That is, read vintage. Don't go with the modern stuff. The modern stuff has got some really heavy stuff going on it. Read some vintage. Let me hold one up. Cherry Aids. It's usually a little bit shorter. It usually has a happy ending. It usually harkens you back to a simpler time. And I know a lot of people think that I hide behind my vintage, that I can't face the world as it is, and maybe that's true. I won't deny that maybe that's true, but I would say go to a used bookstore and find an old mystery, an old, maybe an Agatha Christie, maybe a children's book, maybe Anne of Green Gables or something like that. Something that's not going to plunge you into despair, which I think so many modern books do. Okay, how to put books down. Is there a writer you once considered a kind of oracle, or a book you once thought you would always adore, but over time you've grown to see the author or the book differently? I'm going to take that into a genre question. And the reason I'm going to take that into a genre question is because I used to love cozy mysteries. I would read the whole series, and I was big into series. I was big into cozy mysteries and everything like that. And I'm not now. I'm just not. It's not like I don't like them anymore or anything like that, but I can't read them anymore because there's not enough suspense in them. There's not enough. I mean, you read these whole series and you look at like a series of 12 books or something like that, but it's still not enough from what I can get from one book if I choose the book correctly. It's like, it's all this world building, which is great. And I'm not trying to bash the genre because cozy mysteries are important, because they show the world in a more exciting way. Like, they take modern situations and they throw in the dead body and everything like that. But I just always thought that I would always be a cozy mystery reader, and I'm not. I'm not now. Kind of gone around the corner from that just a little bit. So anyway, those are the answers to the questions that she gave me. I didn't do a very good job on them. I'm sorry. I should have done a better job on them. But Heather, I love you, and you had some tough prompts there, but I got through them, and they really made me think. And so, like I said, I'm not going to have time to write down all the prompts this week, but I promise you I will link Heather in the video, in the show notes, and then you guys can go from there. But it was a tough one. It was a tough one, Heather, but I wouldn't expect anything less from you. I love you to death, and I love everybody to death, and I will check you later.